Now at 9, it's Election Day. We're going to have results from top races and issues in the area, plus efforts to raise awareness of the diabetes epidemic here in the U.S.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Abbi. On the ballot this midterm election day, local, state, and federal positions. Statewide issues include a proposal to legalize recreational marijuana in the Show Me State of Missouri and a proposal to shift the balance of power between Kansas lawmakers and the governor. We start with the Kansas governor's race, where Democratic Governor Laura Kelly right there is looking to win a re-election bid against the current Attorney General Derek Schmidt. Republican U.S. Senator Jerry Moran also sought re-election and defeats Democratic challenger Mark Holland. In the race for Kansas Attorney General, former Republican Secretary of State Chris Kobach right there is facing Democrat Chris Mann. Chris Mann is winning this race so far. It hasn't been called yet. In the Kansas 2nd District congressional race, Republican incumbent Jake LaTurner is facing Democrat challenger Patrick Schmidt. Jake LaTurner is losing so far compared to Patrick Schmidt with 53% of the vote. KOAM's Amber Jenkins is live at a Jake LaTurner watch party in Galena now. Amber?
Yes, I'm here in downtown Galena with Aaron Ryder, a supporter of LaTurner. Tell me how this watch party been going on so far.
Well, we've had a lot of excitement here, lots of energy from the people, big crowd out here, and we got lots of food, lots of entertainment, and so we're really excited about Congressman LaTurner's chances today.
That's amazing. It's been a great watch party, would you say?
Oh yeah, having a great time.
Nice. Well, thank you so much, Aaron. We'll take it back to Dow at KOAM.
That was at 10, but thank you. I appreciate it. An increased voter turnout was expected for this year's midterms. KOAM's Shannon Becker is over at the Jasper County Courthouse in Carthage, Missouri, and has more. Shannon.
We're in Carthage at the Jasper County Courthouse.
Voter turnout for this election is much higher than normal. One Carthage precinct told us there's 4 times as many voters than they've had in the past. Jasper County Clerk Charlie Davis tells us he's surprised.
I think it is surprising. I had anticipated a much higher turnout than normal election, but especially for a November election of this caliber, I'm really pleased that we had such a good turnout. I give my staff great credit. They've done a very good job.
In Joplin at precincts 5 and 7, at 15th and Murphy Boulevard at the First Community Church, they tell us it was a record day for voters. Almost 5 times as many people voted as back in April. So what brought so many people to the polls? Is it the cost of gas, groceries, or perhaps the recreational use of marijuana in Missouri? We'll find out.
In Jasper County at the courthouse, I'm Shannon Becker for KOAM News Now.
Shannon, thank you so much again. Jasper County Clerk Charlie Davis also says there were no issues with ballots at polls where more than 200 volunteers worked in Jasper County. Missouri's U.S. Senate race pits Republican Attorney General Eric Schmidt against Democrat Trudy Busch Valentine. Along with the Libertarian Congressional Party candidate Eric Schmidt, so far winning this race with 59% of the vote. In the U.S. House race for Missouri District 4, former Kansas City News anchor Republican Mark Alford is currently beating Democrat Jack Truman. And in the race for Missouri's 7th District, the seat formerly held by Billy Long, Republican Eric Burleson facing the Democratic candidate Kristen Radiker Schaefer. Eric Burleson so far winning this one with 80.7%. KOA's Jalen Banks is live at a Kristen Radiker Schaefer watch party in Joplin.
All right, thank you, Jordan. Well, I'm with Kristen Radiker Schaefer, who's running for a seat in the U.S. House of Representatives. Just tell me, candidate Schaefer, just what are the emotions that you have throughout the campaign and then just tonight as a whole?
Well, I am just overwhelmingly proud of my campaign team that, just all volunteers that have poured so much into this and just support from all over the district. It's been amazing to see how many people have just kind of rallied behind me and, done a lot of the work and put in hours and knocked on doors and made phone calls. I'm feeling very proud of my team that regardless of the outcome of tonight, I just feel like they've done an amazing job and I appreciate them all so much.
Absolutely. Just tell me a little bit of your motivation behind getting into this race.
Well, I mean, I think we've all noticed politics getting pretty toxic in the last several years, and one of the things that I feel like I'm best at is listening to people and really trying to understand where they're coming from. And so I kind of wanted to show a kinder, gentler way of doing politics that really revolves around listening to people in the communities and making sure that you understand them and conveying their ideas, because that's what a representative in the U.S. House of Representatives is supposed to do. They're supposed to represent their constituents.
Absolutely. And before we wrap things up, just one more quick question. In the event that you win, are you ready to move to D.C.?
I am ready to move to D.C., but not full time because I love this community too much. So I would want to spend a lot of time here and, as much time there as I have to.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you and best of luck. All right. Back to you guys.
KOAM and Jalen Banks. Thanks so much, Jalen. Oklahoma educator and former Republican Joy Hoffmeister right there, running for governor as a Democrat, state of Oklahoma. She's squaring off against incumbent Republican Governor Kevin Stitt. Kevin Stitt leading this race so far, 56.6% of the vote. 2 U.S. Senate races appeared on Oklahoma ballots. In one, incumbent Senator Republican James Lankford. This one's been called, defeating Democrat James Lankford, a Democrat challenger, Madison Horn, rather. Oklahoma's other U.S. Senate race was a special election to fill the rest of the 6-year term of retiring Republican Jim Inhofe, who was elected in 2020. Both major party candidates are currently serving in the U.S. House. Republican Markwayne Mullin, this has been called, defeating Democrat Kendra Horn. Markwayne Mullin currently holds Oklahoma's District 2 House seat. Republican Josh Brecheen and Democrat Naomi Andrews faced off to succeed him. Brecheen, as this one has been called, is the winner. KOAM's Carrie Worthen has more from the Outlook in Northeast Oklahoma.
I'm here at Venue 29 where things are wrapping up for the watch party of Steve Bayshore. We just found out that he has won his Republican side, and everybody was really excited and cheering. He even gave a speech about it. If you want to find any more election results, you can always visit our website at koamnewsnow.com/elections.
Carrie, thank you so much. Voters also consider some state questions. Missouri voters are still up in this one. Should the Missouri Constitution allow recreational marijuana for people over the age of 21? So far, the majority says no. Kansas voters also considered constitutional amendments. Question 1 would allow the legislature to suspend or revoke rules made by executive branch agencies. This one hasn't been called so far, but so far, the majority is voting no. Also in Kansas ballots, an amendment to preserve the rights of citizens to elect county sheriffs. So far, the majority of voters voting yes. We're going to have more state and local election results here in a bit. You can also get results on our website. Just head over to koamnewsnow.com/elections. Meteorologist Doug Haley joining us now. Enjoyable day for people to get out and vote.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. We did have to kind of dodge a few scattered showers out there, especially during the morning into the early afternoon. We had a lot of clouds, but temperatures were warm. 68 started at 54. Normal high is 62 degrees, but our temperature is very consistent over the past couple days. We were mid-60s yesterday, mid-60s for highs for us today. We do still have a lot of clouds, which are continuing to work through. Not a lot underneath the clouds, but we are going to have mostly cloudy skies as we go through the overnight hours tonight. And even a lot of clouds sticking around once again as we go into the daytime hours tomorrow. Through the overnight, we hold into lower 60s and then a rapid warm up. Overnight low down to about 61, but we do have some changes. Looks like pretty warm, windy for us tomorrow. The winds are going to pick up. Thunderstorms Thursday, much colder for the weekend. Another system early next week, so a lot to talk about here in just a bit.
All right, Doug, thanks so much, man. KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor another four-state hero. Tonight's hero, Marvin Price of Columbus, Kansas. He served in the Navy as an electrician's mate second class during the Vietnam War. We are proud to thank and salute Marvin Price. He is tonight's four-state hero. Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast. And later in sports, Pittsburgh Purple Dragons preparing to face the defending state champions in the S5A quarterfinals. But first, some more election results for you.
Well, definitely turned out to be a nice Tuesday for us today. We got a little bit of rain, something we need, but temperatures up there as well, as we did go into the upper 60s during the afternoon. A lot of clouds still out there right now. Nice shot, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, and we're going to stick with the clouds throughout the overnight hours tonight. But temperatures up there, most of us are sitting upper 50s to low to mid 60s, and we're going to hang out near 60 for us tonight. Humidity is a little high. The winds are somewhat light. You can see our humidity is at 79%, but there are some areas in low-lying areas that are getting a little bit of patchy fog across the region. Through the rest of the night, a lot of clouds, hold into the 60s, 72, 73 by the time we hit 10 o'clock in the morning. Another warm day for us tomorrow. And you can see the showers we had earlier today kind of lifting through. All of these are gone, but we still have a lot of clouds across the region. That's what we're going to see tonight into the daytime hours tomorrow. Out west, you can see the spin out across parts of California. That's our next storm system. That system will give us good chances for showers, even some thunderstorms by the time we head into Thursday. Until then, just a lot of clouds. The winds are going to start to pick up. We're going to start the day near 60 degrees. As we go through the morning, partly sunny skies. By noon, most of us mid to upper 70s, and that's kind of where we hold. Some areas may press 80 as we get into the afternoon. Could be an isolated shower on the Missouri side. Most of us will stay dry. Tomorrow night, clouds continue to thicken up ahead of that next storm system. We'll stop Thursday morning. As we go through the morning hours, some scattered showers and thunderstorms popping up in our western counties. So let's go into the middle of the afternoon. You can see the rain expanding, Kansas, Oklahoma, and then starts to push south and east throughout the late afternoon into the evening hours. Here's 7 p.m. Some of these storms could be a little stronger, most likely not severe. Something we'll keep our eyes on. Periods of showers, a few thunderstorms as we go into Thursday night. Showers mainly along and south of the I-44 corridor by Friday morning. But look at the temps. We're dropping into the 40s, into the 30s by Friday morning. So it's going to turn quite a bit colder as we work toward the weekend. Not the case tomorrow. 63 in the morning, 77 by noon, 75 by 5. High temp right around 78 degrees. Now rainfall with this next system, an estimated maybe upwards to half an inch in spots, maybe an inch. Not as heavy as what we did have last Friday. Plus the winds. Look at the winds really increase as we go through the daytime hours tomorrow into tomorrow night. So that means trash can knocked over. Not in the neighbor's yard, not gone, but knocked over as we get into tomorrow afternoon. Severe threat on Thursday, mainly to our north, but still something we'll keep our eyes on as we go through the next few days. 78 tomorrow, 74 Thursday. High of only 45 on Friday. Overnight lows down into the 20s. The tropics heating up again, so we're going to look at that in our second half hour.
That wind was kind of howling. Not too bad.
Yeah.
Don't you feel like anything so much. Yep. I have an update now to Oklahoma. The race for governor in Oklahoma. Incumbent Republican Governor Kevin Stitt was facing Republican Joy Hoffmeister. This one just became official. Kevin Stitt winning this race. It is official. Well, November is American Diabetes Month, raising awareness about the diabetes epidemic and the millions of people at risk for the disease. Elise Preston has more.
The number of adults with diabetes in the U.S. has more than doubled in the last 20 years. According to the CDC, about 37 million people have diabetes. 8.5 million are undiagnosed. 96 million adults have prediabetes. A 2021 study shows up to half of new diabetes cases in the U.S. are linked to obesity. Managing the disease is critical, as people with diabetes are twice as likely to have heart disease or stroke. Diabetes can also lead to health complications, such as chronic kidney disease, nerve damage, and problems with feet, oral health, vision, hearing, as well as mental health issues. But the CDC says patients can prevent or delay these complications and improve overall health by eating right, maintaining a healthy weight, staying active, and managing stress. When lifestyle changes are not enough to bring glucose levels to normal, medication may be necessary. Most people with diabetes have type 2. Type 1 diabetes is usually diagnosed in children and young adults. Gestational diabetes develops in pregnant women who have never had the disease.
Diabetes is the 7th leading cause of death here in the U.S. All right, coming up, visit the Flower Box City in Missouri for an annual tradition to raise money for students. A festive time over at Crowder College for its 20th annual Festival of Wreaths event. So the festival started out as a live auction of 30 to 40 wreaths and swags years ago. This year, as we saw, there's much more than that, okay, including gift baskets, apparel, trips, electronics, and household items.
Well, for those students that don't have money to go to school, this affords them a way to go. It also helps with, we have employee grants that goes towards classrooms that can also profit the students in that way too. So it's, it's just a great way if someone can't go to school that we can help them along a little bit.
Just heard, but it's worth noting again, proceeds from the festival benefit scholarships, important scholarships as we heard, and those school programs. Students at Pittsburgh High School are putting the final touches on their newest theater presentation. It's called Big Fish. The musical is based on a celebrated novel by Daniel Wallace.
Pittsburgh is really lucky to have a rep theater class. The administration allows us to produce this as part of our curriculum, so we're allowed to rehearse during the day, which is fantastic. So all of the students that are in the play, some of the tech people and the musicians rehearse this during school, which is unheard of in this area. But we also work with a lot of tech people and other local musicians to make it a bigger production than we could even have within our school.
I know this year tickets can be purchased online, $5 for students and $10 for adults. Still ahead, voters concentrating on the same thing.
It's election day, but many voters' minds are on the grocery store. I'm Madison Allworth in Bedford, New York. Coming up, I'll explain why inflation is top of mind in this election and which candidates are facing pushback.
Inflation was a top priority and an issue for the election today. Fox Business correspondent Madison Allworth is at a supermarket in New York talking to voters.
Many of the customers that walk into this grocery store are wearing their I voted stickers proudly. They tell me that inflation is their top concern.
You just become more cost conscious. You try to get to sleep at night without, dollar signs running through your head and thinking about what the next few months are going to be. You're obviously being a lot more diligent about savings.
I think people feel there was absolutely time for change. Things are just too much out of whack.
Inflation is pervasive, and that's why some Democratic candidates are acknowledging the issue. But it hasn't all gone over well. We are in Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee Chair Representative Sean Patrick Maloney's district because he is under fire for saying his family would be eating Chef Boyardee when squeezed by inflation and declaring that's what families have to do in times of financial hardships. But unfortunately, Rep. Maloney's pasta plan is not as budget friendly anymore. Supermarkets in the congressman's own state say that the price of Chef Boyardee is 54% higher from last year. It's leaving voters frustrated. They feel the representative is downplaying the economic reality for American families struggling to get by.
Mr. Maloney is probably partially to blame for all the inflation with his friend Kathy Hochul. They are very much to blame for the higher inflation, which did not exist before. Although they like to claim it did, it didn't.
We won't get the latest read on inflation until Thursday, but voters hitting the polls today, they know that inflation remains high, and that's why it's a top issue in this election. In Bedford, New York, I'm Madison Allworth, Fox Business.
How you can get the home smelling like pickles. Yeah, while also fueling some visitors. Next. If you like the smell of pickles, you'll be able to enjoy it in a different way. The Vlasic Pickle Candle. Coming from a collaboration between pickle brand Vlasic, of course, and the candle company Candier. The brands say the Vlasic Pickle Wax Candle looks just like a pickle jar, as you can see. Smells like it too. Fans who want to see and smell this unique candle can place their order on shopryanporter.com. We were talking about this. I like pickles. Two people in the studio here can't stand pickles, though. Two of us like pickles, but the smell of pickles, though, I can't picture myself calling my wife and saying, "Hey, babe, got the house cleaned up for you," and it's just screaming of pickles. I can't picture myself doing that. All right, 31 minutes news, weather, and sports coming your way.
As hurricane season wraps up, Florida braces for another major storm. I'm Nicole Valdez in West Palm Beach. What the state is doing to prepare coming up.
The White House and Ukrainian officials are working to get back on the same page when it comes to peace talks with Russia. In London, I'm Alex Hogan. I'll have more on this story coming up.
Tropical storm Nicole threatening Florida's east coast with heavy rain and storm surge. Part of the region is still trying to recover from Hurricane Ian. Fox Weather's Nicole Valdez has more.
Just weeks after Hurricane Ian tore through parts of southwest Florida, the state is now preparing for yet another storm.
Honestly, are you kidding me?
Forecasters say Storm Nicole could slam into the state's east coast later this week as a Category 1 hurricane. It's then expected to move across the Florida peninsula on Thursday before possibly making a second landfall on Friday. The National Weather Service says heavy rain, high winds, and storm surge remain Nicole's biggest threats.
We've really been looking at wave height, beach conditions, and then also the threat for heavy rainfall potential and increasing levels along the St. Johns River.
Millions of Floridians were under hurricane watches Tuesday morning. Residents have been out filling sandbags and shoring up drainage systems. On Monday, those vacationing here tried to get out on earlier flights.
My wife called the airport earlier and see if we could get a flight out maybe tomorrow instead of Wednesday when we're leaving, and don't look good. I don't know.
The conditions are also threatening the launch of the Artemis 1 rocket on November 14th. Hurricane Ian forced NASA to roll the rocket back into the garage, but for now, the agency plans to keep Artemis on the launch pad.
If they don't roll it back in time, it's going to sit out there, and then it's at the mercy of Mother Nature.
And forecasters say coastal flooding and rip currents could extend up towards North Carolina. In West Palm Beach, I'm Nicole Valdez, Fox Weather.
More American households have pets than children. Veterinarians are working harder than ever to keep up with the growing demand, though. A nationwide shortage that worsens during the pandemic means longer waits for appointment times, more stress on vets currently in the workforce. Reporter Michael George taking a look at the problem and how one school in Brookville, New York is training up the next generation to help fill the gap.
Dr. Jackie Cuskar is happy with her current job. She performs spay-neuter surgeries at the Animal Protective Foundation in upstate New York and treats animals at its shelter.
The fact that I can feel like I'm truly helping animals every single day, it makes me really happy.
She left general veterinary practice in 2019, feeling overworked and overwhelmed, trying to squeeze in as many patients as possible.
I was very burned out at that point. I really needed to get away from that environment.
An American Veterinary Medical Association survey from 2021 showed 44% of veterinarians have at some point considered leaving the profession, and about 26% indicated they want to work fewer hours, citing work-life balance, stress, anxiety, and burnout. This comes as the need for veterinarians is rising. A report says by 2030, the U.S. will need nearly 41,000 additional vets to care for America's pets.
We need to figure out a way to make it more sustainable.
Here at Long Island University, they're expanding the veterinary school to train more vets to meet the growing demand.
Now pull with even tension.
The College of Veterinary Medicine opened during the pandemic and will graduate its first class in 2024. Dr. Carmen Fuente-Alba is the dean. Because we have this shortage now, are there a lot of job opportunities for your students?
Absolutely, many jobs opportunities. Many of the students are already having conversations.
Students say they're being prepared for the rigors of the profession, and the shortage gives them leverage.
To show that what we're learning and the degrees that we have are actually worth what we should be compensated and how we should be treated in the industry.
Some corporate practices recently started offering signing bonuses as high as $100,000 to attract vets to the job.
Earlier this year, 24 leaders called on the AVMA to support an increase in veterinary college classes sizes and additional programs to help alleviate what they call an acute and growing workforce crisis. The industry is going to also need 133,000 credentialed vet techs. And advocates suggest empowering those technicians to work at the top of their license to help reduce some of the pressure on doctors. There's a push for tighter regulations around baby formula advertising after research linked marketing to parents feeding their babies unhealthy food. Research in BMJ Global Health shows that mothers who see extensive digital marketing for formula and processed baby food are more likely to not exclusively breastfeed babies for the first 6 months. We are learning more about a reported attempt by the U.S. to push Ukraine to negotiate with Russia, which Kiev says is not going to happen until Putin is out of power. Fox News correspondent Alex Hogan has more now from London.
It's a diplomatic dust-up that could have a big impact on the war. Ukraine and the U.S. seemingly at odds over a new push for peace talks with the Russians. It all started with a report that the U.S. was pressuring Kyiv into negotiations. The Ukrainians say they've always been willing to talk, but not until the Russian military makes a complete withdrawal.
The international community is standing with Ukraine. Ukraine has to be in the driver's seat, but we certainly support their efforts.
On Tuesday, the White House sent Linda Thomas-Greenfield, the U.S. ambassador to the UN, to Ukraine. She met with officials and reiterated America's support. But with the war inching toward its 9th month and with no end in sight, other high-ranking U.S. officials are hinting that it might be time to talk to Moscow.
It is our responsibility to keep lines of communication open, even with our adversaries.
The push for diplomacy comes amid a major escalation on the battlefield. In the south, the Ukrainian counteroffensive is moving slowly toward Kherson and then possibly Crimea. But it's a different story in the east, where a new Russian offensive has turned into a bloody stalemate. Both sides reporting heavy casualties, with Russia claiming 80,000 fresh recruits are now fighting on the front lines.
You continue to see Russians try to solidify their defenses and hold the territory that they have.
And as the fighting intensifies, Russian dissidents claim they're meeting in Poland to discuss how to remove Russian President Vladimir Putin from power. In London, Alex Hogan, Fox News.
And a bit later, serious drought.
Wildlife officials in Kenya say drought has killed an entire generation of elephants, as well as hundreds of zebras and wildebeest. I'm Marianne Rafferty with the shocking details coming up.
Hey, it's me.
A lot of clouds for us today and even some scattered showers, but temperatures are pretty good as we did warm into the upper 60s for highs. We're going to actually be quite a bit warmer than that as we go into the daytime hours on Wednesday. Nice shot, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort Indigo, just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Look at our temps. Most of us near 60, if not low to mid 60s, and we're actually pretty close to our overnight low. We're not going to drop off too much more tonight. In fact, southerly winds, which are light, will keep our temperatures up just a bit. Humidity is also kind of high, so a little bit of patchy fog in very low-lying areas is definitely possible. Into the morning hours, 60s, but a quick warm-up, 73 by 10. Overnight low, only 61. But look at the clouds. We've got a lot of mid and upper level clouds across the region after we got rid of these showers, even a few thunder showers earlier today. Now, just a finger of clouds, but that's what we're going to see tonight. And then as we go into the daytime hours tomorrow, and then down across the Atlantic, here's Tropical Storm Nicole that we are going to be keeping our eyes on. And of course, out toward the west is our next storm system that will give us chances for showers and thunderstorms by the time we head into the daytime hours for us on Thursday. All right, Nicole strengthening at this time, so will become a Category 1 hurricane, actually moving west tonight into the daytime hours tomorrow. Should make a landfall as a Category 1 tomorrow night, and then this fits right into the pattern. So it moves right back to the track where Ian was, and then it lifts off toward the north and to the east, just like we saw Hurricane Ian the last cycle, which is going to end up being about 45 days ago. Back here at home, looks pretty good. We're going to start lower 60s, a lot of clouds tomorrow, but a quick warm up. So mid to upper 70s by noon. We'll hold into the upper 70s, pushing 80 tomorrow afternoon. So it's going to be a warm one. It's going to be windy across the region. Clouds increase tomorrow night. As we head into Thursday morning, showers and a few thunderstorms start to develop in our western counties. Most of Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas stay dry until at least the middle of the afternoon. Then these thunderstorms start to track off toward the east. So here's 7 p.m. Some of these storms could be a little bit stronger, most likely not severe. Scattered showers and thunderstorms Thursday evening, Thursday night. But look at the temps. We're dropping back through the 40s, eventually into the 30s. So this last batch, Friday morning, could even have a few flakes of snow trying to mix in. But near 80 for highs for us tomorrow, which is kind of crazy. All right, rainfall amounts with this next system. We're going to estimate maybe half an inch, maybe upwards to an inch in spots, which is something we definitely need because we've been in a severe drought since the beginning of the summer. 78 tomorrow, 74 Thursday, 45 on Friday, down to 24 Saturday morning. The weekend's going to be dry, but it's going to be chilly.
You know, you and I were talking to, and our hearts and prayers already are going with the same people in Florida who are recovering from Ian, now facing Nicole.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
This is crazy. It is crazy. Doug Heady, thanks so much, man, as always. All right, coming up in sports, we'll look at the latest Division II football regional rankings and where Pitt State stands with 1 week left in the regular season. Plus, Pittsburgh Purple Dragons aim to stay rolling in the state quarterfinals against Mill Valley. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
The Pittsburgh Purple Dragons are still alive in the 5A state football playoffs. Pittsburgh hits the road this Friday to face Mill Valley in the state quarterfinals. The Purple Dragons shut out KC Sumner last week 28-0 to earn a regional title. And that win was the 7th win in the last 8 games for Pittsburgh. Now this one coming up on Friday, no doubt, going to be a tough one for the Dragons, facing the defending state champion Jaguars. But this team feeling better and better every week, and they're ready for the challenge on Friday night.
They're a good team. I think everyone knows that. Everyone in the state of Kansas knows that. But we're here to dethrone the Kings. That's how we roll. We're ready to go.
They're always top dogs. You know, they've won state the last couple of years, but why not us? Everybody at the start of the season was saying, you know, this is the worst team PHS has had in a couple of years, and you know, we go out and win a regional title, first time in 5 years. I mean, our confidence is up. We have a new head coach. Love him. Energy every day. Everybody's bought in. Everybody believes.
At the college level, here's a look at the Super Region 3 rankings this week. Pitt State was number 2 last week. They won. Still slipped down 1 spot to number 3. The Gorillas are 10-0 and will wrap up the regular season on Saturday, hosting Fort Hays State. Now, the number 1 team in the region gets a first-round bye in the playoffs. The top 7 make the playoffs, with seeds 2, 3, and 4 hosting in the first round. The Kansas City Chiefs are 6-2 in their first 8 games of the season. This week, the Chiefs will be at home for the 2nd straight game, hosting Jacksonville. Now, last Sunday night, quarterback Patrick Mahomes did everything for Kansas City, threw for 446 yards and a touchdown. But it was what he did with his legs that was the difference in the game. He was the team's leading rusher with 63 yards and ran in a touchdown and 2-point conversion late in the fourth quarter to send the game to overtime.
The fact that we had like 90 plays, and at the end of the 90 plays, he's running around like it was play 3, you know, I mean, and still being able to throw the football and control the huddle and do all the things you're supposed to do. He's not known, he didn't come out being known as a running quarterback that's fast and all that, but he's fast enough, and he just knows, he kind of knows when to do it.
And that's it for sports. We're back with more news after this.
Devastating drought is proving deadly for many of Africa's sacred at-risk wildlife. Fox News correspondent Marianne Rafferty has a look at the impacts climate change is taking on elephants, zebras, and more.
Wildlife officials in Kenya entering crisis mode as the worst drought the African nation has faced in 40 years is responsible for the death of hundreds of animals.
This drought, in one word, is catastrophic.
According to a recent report from the Kenya Wildlife Service, over the last 9 months, the drought has wiped out an entire generation of elephants, claiming the lives of more than 200. This heartbreaking footage shows elephants mourning the loss of their young, as well as dangerously dehydrated animals struggling to stand. Nearly 400 common zebra and more than 500 wildebeest have also perished. Cattle that local communities rely on for their food are also dying off.
We are not only losing livestock, but we can also be losing people.
Data collected by the United Nations finds droughts have become nearly 30% more common around the world over the last 22 years.
We will have more episodes of drought, intensity, frequency, and we need to be prepared. The world needs to change its paradigm from this reactive to a more proactive issue. We need to be prepared for the next drought.
This comes as the 27th United Nations Climate Change Conference continues in Egypt. Over the coming days, officials will discuss plans to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in an effort to curb the deadly effects of climate change. Marianne Rafferty, Fox News.
Coming up, some big honors for Lionel Richie. Hollywood Nation coming your way. A late-night TV host is going to return to a major award show. A Grammy and Oscar winner earns an Icon Award and more. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin has the latest from the Hollywood Nation.
Murphy's Monster renewal, Richie's new honor, and Kimmel's Oscar return in the Hollywood Nation. Jimmy Kimmel will once again help celebrate Hollywood's biggest night. He will take center stage as host of the 2023 Academy Awards. This marks his third time emceeing the annual ceremony, which will air live from Hollywood's Dolby Theater March 12th. Lionel Richie will be adding more hardware to his trophy case. Fresh off the heels of his Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, Richie will be honored with the Icon Award during the 2022 American Music Awards, making him the first artist to be featured on the AMA stage in every decade since the show launched. This ceremony airs live from LA's Microsoft Theater November 20th.
What are you doing there?
True crime fans and enthusiasts can expect more killer stories from Ryan Murphy. After the record-breaking success of Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story, Netflix has renewed Murphy's anthology series for 2 more seasons. According to the streamer, the first season has accumulated over 900 million hours viewed and is expected to reach 1 billion in the coming weeks.
Tonight, a murder will be committed.
And Daniel Craig is back on the case in today's First Looks. Netflix released the official trailer to Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, featuring Craig reprising his role as Detective Benoit Blanc. The preview follows the super sleuth on an island getaway where he is forced into action when a tech billionaire's murder mystery party turns deadly. The film opens in theaters 1 month before its streaming debut December 23rd.
For at least one person, this is not a game.
Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Gonna leave you tonight with video of a baby hippo over at the Dallas Zoo. Yeah, little guy. Hey, be safe. Thanks for voting today. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.